Victory is just a residue of the hard work by everyone involved with this Virginia program as they come in with a 5-2 record. North Carolina wanting the toss, and they elected to defer. Coming out of the end zone, it's Joe Reed. Reed past the 15 and dropped near the 17-yard line. 21 yards on the return by Joe Reed. It is the South's oldest rivalry. You have to go back to 1892 when they first met on the field, and today, Dave, is the 100th consecutive meeting between Virginia and North Carolina.
And you can see the Heels have won 7 the last 8, and that one was last season's. Virginia went into Chapel Hill and found a way to get a W, 20-14 in last year's game.
Stopped a 7-game losing streak in the series between the two teams. First and 10 from the 17. Perkins at quarterback, Ellis the running back to his right. Perkins will take off. Gain the 20 and up near the 25-yard line. J.K. Britt made the stop. 8 yards on the play, and time for the Food Line impact players.
Olamide Zaccheaus is one of the outstanding receivers in the country, and they'll use him in a lot of places. He had a big day against North Carolina a year ago in that win, but Zaccheaus will be lined up all over the formation. And Malik Carney comes back, been serving some games for suspension. He's a big-time player off the edge, can really heat up the passer.
5.5 sacks on the season for Carney, leads the team in that category. Also 7.5 tackles for loss, first on the team. Second and short, that's Ellis up near the 30-yard line. He's got 5 yards and a first down for the Cavaliers.
And Tom, there was a question about Jordan Ellis. He'd been banged up coming into the game, but had a monster day a year ago against North Carolina. 136 yards on the ground. They'll need him. There you see Perkins' rushing numbers. We talked a little bit about that. Approaching 500 yards. Perkins truly a dual threat problem for North Carolina.
Bronco Mendenhall in his 3rd year as the head coach of the Cavs. 13-19 overall. Took him to a bowl last season after going 6-7 all the way to the Military Bowl. Perkins, the throw complete. Zaccheaus beyond the 40. Another first down for Virginia. Britton Ross had to combine on the stop after 12 yards.
I like to move Zaccheaus around. Zaccheaus got in the slot area that time and found a way to get himself open on a little half roll. They love to find different ways to get Olamide Zaccheaus the football.
And now 37 straight games with a reception for Zaccheaus, tied for the 4th longest streak in the entire country. At the 42, first and 10 for Virginia. Young man Bryce Perkins from Queen Creek, Arizona. Perkins, room up the middle. Inside the 40 for Perkins. 19 yards as Morrison made the tackle for Carolina.
Well, as advertised, all this is dive option. Fake the dive right there. Now option to the outside. He keeps the football. Nobody there for the quarterback. And you can see how explosive Bryce Perkins is. We got a chance to talk to him yesterday, Tom. Bigger guy than you think he is now. He's a guy that's really put together. 6'2", but really put together. Going to run through some arm tackles.
Perkins, as we mentioned, 3rd of the conference in total offense, averaging 267 yards per game as Ellis takes it up the middle for a modest 2-yard gain for the senior from Sewanee, Georgia.
Tom, we talk about, North Carolina defensively. This was a defense a week ago. 5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss. Took the ball away twice, 3 for 14 with Syracuse a 3rd down. And you look up and you lost the football game. So they've been scratching their heel a little bit defensively. They get a couple people back. They're hoping that might help them.
A loss at the Dome Saturday on Raycom Sports, 40-37 in double overtime against the Orange. They flip it to Kelly. Can't turn the corner. Trey Morrison came up to make the play in open space for North Carolina. It's a gain of 3 yards.
Tom, this is a kid that's playing at a really high level. Trey Morrison is kind of that nickel back, if you will. He's a guy playing out there in that slot area. He's an outstanding tackler, and he's very good out in space in coverage. But how about that tackle in the open field by Trey Morrison, the freshman from Norcross, Georgia?
So 3rd and 4 now for the Cavaliers, 2nd best in the conference.
Part of that is the quarterback and his ability to run the football.
Going to throw it this time. to the 25-yard line. Hassis Dubois, and the chains are moving on the completion from Perkins. They got 7.
Check out the ball location now here. Is a defender to the inside leverage, ball on the outside shoulder, just trying to keep it out of harm's way should the defensive back Ross close. But a good job of adjusting to the football by Dubois, and another first down for Virginia.
Remember, Dave, now Perkins has been dealing with an injury to the pinky on his throwing finger. It doesn't appear to bother him so far today.
Yeah, wearing a glove. We talked to him yesterday. He said the first time he'd ever worn a glove. Got hurt in that Louisville game on a throwback to the quarterback.
It was a dominating performance against the Cardinals in a win. Perkins dancing away from pressure. Throws towards the end zone. It's incomplete. Tavares Kelly, the closest Virginia Cavalier receiver, as we go down to the Risha.
Well, I spoke with Perkins earlier this week, and I asked him, how do you prepare for the game? Was it something that you gave up? And he told me he gave up video games during the week, and he only plays them on the weekend. I think that's really kind of significant and a huge sacrifice, being that he told me he is a huge technical nerd. He loves technology, and he loves programming.
I love it. Gave up the video games. That is something to give up there, isn't it?
2nd and 10 for the Cavaliers. Their opening drive started at their own 17-yard line. Perkins has the protection. Now has to freelance to the outside. Throwing on the run. It's too high for the intended receiver. Looking for Evan Butts, number 46, incomplete from Perkins.
Well, give North Carolina a ton of credit, because Perkins had more than enough time to sort out what was going on down the field. But good coverage in the back end. We're going to get a look at it from Perkins' eye view. No place to throw the football. Good tight coverage, and then eventually the pressure got there. Strobridge forces the off his spot and pretty much had to throw the football away. So back-to-back plays where North Carolina, and there's John Papuchis, the defensive coordinator for the Heels. Good coverage in the back end.
2nd year as the defensive coordinator, 4th on the staff for Papuchis. Trying to combat 3rd and 10 against the Cavs. Perkins starts to take off. Darts to the 20. It appears he's about 1.5 yards short of the first down marker. Perkins got 8 on the rush as Greg Ross made the tackle for North Carolina.
No hesitation here, Tom. It looks like Virginia gonna go for it, and Perkins provided that opportunity for Bronco Mendenhall. Let's go for it, because your quarterback ran it down there where you got about just kind of a long one here.
Bronco Mendenhall and Virginia good on 4th down this season. They've gone for it 7 times and made it 5 of those opportunities.
The designed run for Perkins. I like to try to get him running in the same direction with a back leading.
4th and 2. Perkins fakes the flip, keeps it inside the 15. He's got enough. First down, Virginia. Holcomb and Britt stop him, but not after a 4-yard gain.
Yeah, little eye candy with the jet sweep. Get some eyes looking at the jet sweep, faking, and then there's the back leading Perkins through the hole. All it is very similar to the old I formation ISO play where you go straight ahead. Fullback makes the initial block, and then the remaining back cuts off that block. Nice running by Bryce Perkins.
Ellis, the back behind Perkins. 1st and 10. This is Perkins. Tries to make a move at 10. And cannot get by Patrice Rene, who makes a fine defensive play for North Carolina.
Well, it's a nice play on the outside by Rene. He had a huge play a week ago against Syracuse. Had an interception to provide them an opportunity to win it. Didn't work out for him, but played well.
Here's our Red Zone, brought to you by CPI Security, the official security partner of the ACC.
Tom, this is where Perkins' ability to run the football becomes really tough on a defense. You can't really play man coverage, because if they get the guy blocked that's covering the quarterback, he's going to waltz in the end zone.
13th play of the drive, longest of the season. Perkins takes off, angling for the pylon and in. Front left corner of the end zone. Brice Perkins to the house for Virginia.
Well, we talked about coming in. This is what North Carolina was worried about, was Perkins' ability to pull it down. He's been completing 63% of his passes, but it's his ability down in the red zone to run with the football. He had 2 runs a week ago for touchdowns. Perkins got him another one.
He's now got 6 rushing touchdowns on the season.
Cavaliers wanted to set the tone. They turned to their senior quarterback.
Tom, Dave, back to you.
Freshman quarterback for Wake Forest getting it done. Now a quarterback needs to get it done for North Carolina. Nathan Elliott played outstanding last week in a loss to Syracuse.
Double overtime at the Dome for North Carolina as Antonio Williams will get the handoff. He did not gain anything on the play after rushing for 116 yards last week. Footline impact players for North Carolina.
Well, Michael Carter's a guy they would like to get out in space as well. He's got big playability. See how good a game he had against Virginia a year ago.
157 yards and 2 touchdowns. And on the other side, a lot of guys you could point out, but Juan Thornhill moves from corner to safety. He's been outstanding. Leads them in tackles and interceptions.
45 tackles on the season for Thornhill. Receiver lost his helmet up past the 25-yard line. It was Bo Corrales, number 88, 4 yards on the play. Got the helmet back, but has to sit out of play.
Corrales isolated on the outside. Something you'll see from this Virginia secondary is it's an outstanding group of tacklers in the back end. Their 2 corners are big, one 6'2", the other one 6'1". Big, long-arm guys that can get you on the ground.
That was Tim Harris who had the previous play for Virginia defensively. Now 3rd down for the Tar Heels. Elliott surveys the situation and hits his man near the 40, and up near the 45 is Daz Newsome. Conversion on 3rd down for the Tar Heels, and they want to run up tempo.
Well, a good job of protecting up front. Give Elliott a chance to find his big-timer Newsome, and looked like Tim Harris was the worse for wear after that hit the corner, the guy I just talked about. Big-time player, Tim Harris.
So Harris, the senior from Richmond, Virginia. Antonio Williams on the carry. You saw Tim Harris was down on the field. He was able to walk off, but he is in the observation tent for further medical evaluation. So we'll get an update on that momentarily. Darius Bratton has come into the game in place of Tim Harris in that secondary for Virginia. Second down. Anthony Ratliff-Williams makes a move at midfield and then tackled near the 45-yard line short of the first down. Got 6 yards, and we're going back to our Charlotte studio.
Let's head back to Cardinals Stadium. This update brought to you by Hardee's Try an All-Star Meal. The Cards unable to stop Wake Forest.
Sam Hartman finds wide receiver Scotty Washington, 9-yard touchdown pass. That's 145 yards in the first quarter for Sam Hartman.
2.5 to play. Wake Forest up 21-7, guys.
Both teams in search of their first ACC victory. That is Williams from the spot. It looks like he's got enough, and he does. It is a first down for North Carolina.
A great opportunity right here for North Carolina now. You got a great field position, got a first down on the other side of the 50. So Larry Fedora's team to find a way to cash these opportunities in.
Nick Howell, 3rd year co-defensive coordinator for Virginia, along with Kelly Papinga for the Cavaliers. 2 for 2 now on 3rd down for North Carolina. Jordan Brown is number 2. Goes inside the 40 and taken down near the 37-yard line. Juan Thornhill had the tackle after 7 yards as we go down to Larisha.
Well, I spoke with Nathan Elliott, quarterback for the Tar Heels, and he told me about the mentality of the offense. He said it's been tough, but everyone is still fighting for the same goal. He says we know the offense is so close and they can be explosive. They just have a couple of more plays that they need to make so that they can get to where they need to be.
2nd and 4. Elliott pumps, now throws it. And the only one there is someone part of the coaching staff on the Virginia side. Was that Bronco Mendenhall who caught that?
Good pressure this time. Aaron Falmouly, number 94, is going to eventually come clean and push him out of the pocket. And Elliott had to dance out of there and throw the football away. So a 3rd down opportunity here.
2 for 2 on 3rd down. North Carolina came into the game just 32%, Dave, on 3rd down, 14th in the conference. 3rd and 3. Elliott hands off. Jordan Brown not gonna get there despite the second effort. Can't get near that 33-yard line. Lost one. Mandy Alonso along that defensive line for the Cavaliers.
What blows you up is penetration. Mandy Alonso gets penetration right now. So now Brown only has one way to go, and that's try to get wide. And a good job by Virginia to take away the outside run, set the edge. And so North Carolina now will go here on 4th down.
They are 8 of 15 on the season on 4th down. Pretty good for the Tar Heels, 53%. This is 4th and 3. Elliott, left side, has the open man. North Carolina to Jake Vargas, and a first down, 7 yards, and they convert on 3rd down once again as the drive continues.
Yeah, it's the blown coverage here. Nobody responsible for the tight end in the flat. Vargas catches it with nobody at home. Thornhill has to come up and make a tackle, but not after he had the first down.
How about 4 for 4, Dave, on 3rd down for the Tar Heels?
Good design there. Chris Kapilovic found something where he could get his tight end the ball in open space to pick up that first down.
Elliott back to pass, lofts it up to the end zone, and the twisting catch from Daz Newsome, and a touchdown, North Carolina.
This is an outstanding throw by Nathan Elliott. He lets this go well before Newsome comes out of the break. Watch the pressure now. It's going to heat him up, so he has to let it go early with air, and Newsome had nowhere near coming out of his break. But he had a good idea. Look at Newsome, crane the head around, ball right on the money from Nathan Elliott. Big-time throw. And we talked about how good Newsome can be.
Extra point ties this game.
Nathan Elliott coming off a career day a week ago. He needed a touchdown and a big-time throw.
North Carolina has answered on its opening drive. 11 plays and 75 yards, and they get to the end zone. Elliott was 5 of 6 on that drive for 63 yards and a TD to Newsome. So both teams, Dave, come out swinging in this historical rivalry.
Both quarterbacks made plays. We saw Perkins make plays throwing and running the ball, and Elliott, not much of a runner, but an outstanding anticipation throw to Daz Newsome. And we've got what we thought we would have, and that's a battle between these two Southern rivals.
Dave, here's our 1st and 10 line, brought to you by Lending Tree, official loan shopping partner of the ACC. On that opening drive for the Cavs, Perkins 6 rushes for 53 yards and the touchdown run of 10 yards to finish off that 13-play drive. Longest drive, Dave, to start the game by plays and time. Now, there is a North Carolina player down. It is Aaron Crawford, who was a game-time decision.
Yeah, he'd been trying to play through some lower body injuries, Tom. He missed last week's game. They were excited that he might be able to go today, and it looks like he's maybe nicked it up again here early.
Crawford, the junior from Ashburn, Virginia.
Well, you can see that brace on that knee, Tom, the tape around the calf there, and that knee was bothering him coming in. Tried to play through it.
Bryce Perkins, who last week threw for 189 yards and 1 TD pass in the win at Duke. 15 carries, 61 yards, and as Dave mentioned, a couple of rushing TDs for Perkins, who has added 1 today. He's got 6 for the season now. Perkins moves out of the pocket. And Perkins up to about the 33-yard line. Got 4 yards, ran into Cole Holcomb, the senior, defensively for North Carolina.
Well, we talked about Bryce Perkins' ability to heat you up in the run game, and he started early. Option play got him to the outside. Then a quick throw to the outside, and then a nice decision here. This was designed run all the way, fake the pass, and get Perkins out the backside for a touchdown. 3 rushing touchdowns, as Tom talked about, in the last 2 games already. And we've got a lot to go here today.
Yeah, started the game at Duke last week, Dave, with a 23-yard rushing TD. Had a 10-yard TD run on the first drive of the game for Virginia to open up our festivities this afternoon. Perkins, he's got it. Trying to go wide, turn that corner. Up near the marker and shoved out of bounds by Cole Holcomb.
Yeah, no coaching for this one, Tom. This is just pure athleticism because this is well defended by North Carolina. Look how many defenders are out there for North Carolina, and Perkins just outruns everybody to the corner.
Holcomb knocks him out of bounds, but Perkins gets the first down. Just tremendous athletic ability and speed by Perkins to get to the edge. Man, that's tough to defend.
Had a great conversation with that young man yesterday. Very poised, leading this offense. Bronco Mendenhall told us zero drama when it comes to Brice Perkins. Very important, Dave.
He's a guy that, as you said, Tom, very impressive. Blended in immediately here as he arrived this spring to absorb the offense.
Zaccheaus keeps it. He's got room. Into North Carolina territory. Olamide Zaccheaus forced out by Miles Dorn. He got 29 yards on the scamper.
And sometimes you got to be an actor. Watch Zaccheaus act on this fake handoff to Brown right there. To Reed. Just a little fake handoff, got it geared down just a little bit, and then stepped on the accelerator. We talked about how Zaccheaus is going to get the ball in a myriad of ways. That's one of them there where he had to be a little bit of an actor, first of all, and then you see the explosion.
Does that qualify as a gadget play, Dave, or not quite?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Sure.
Little gadget razzle from Virginia. Kyer the back. Big fake. And throw. Caught. Zaccheaus. He's near the marker. Maybe just a little bit short. He got 9 yards on the pass from Brice Perkins.
It's another one of those throws you're going to let it go before the receiver comes out of the break. Zaccheaus on the outside, going to run the comeback. Look at the placement of the ball. To the outside shoulder, had an inside leverage corner. That means you can't throw the ball back to the inside. Throw it outside. Let Zaccheaus come down that route back to the outside, and that's exactly where Perkins put the ball for Olamide Zaccheaus.
His second catch of the game, Dave. He now needs 6 catches to become the all-time leader at Virginia in reception. So he's closing in on that record here for the Cavs. Perkins will roll it right and throw to the end zone. Got a man, and it's caught for a touchdown. Joe Reed. He's got the grab for the Cavs.
Well, just a nice job of buying time. He got to the outside, and here's the route by Reed. Little out and up move, and just a well-thrown ball when you talk about where Perkins put the football. Beat DeAndre Hollins on the out and up move. Talk about Reed, and Reed's one of those guys that does it all for you as well. Runs tremendous kick returner is Reed, but a nice job of acting on the route. Whenever you roll a quarterback outside, you're looking for those outside breaking routes. Reed made it look like out and then turned it up in a big-time throw by Perkins.
Was able to beat Hollins defensively for North Carolina. Reed, his second touchdown reception of the season. Know Your Score brought to you by Lending Tree as we go around the ACC. Couple of games already complete. Georgia Tech and Boston College Day with big victories on Thursday and then on Friday.
Well, those two guys, Oliver and Dillon, ran it up big time on the ground. Big win for BC last night. And today, Clemson, Florida State, big game down in Tallahassee. Florida State hanging in there with the #2 team in the land. And of course, Wake Forest, we've seen some of the highlights. We've gone back to the studio. Wake with their freshman quarterback lighting up the scoreboard against the Cardinals.
You know, Dave, the last 7 years, the winner of Clemson and Florida State has gone on to win the ACC championship. That's a tall order for the Noles, but Clemson trying for 4 in a row.
Right, and the big game for Clemson to kind of keep pace. Next week is the first college football playoff poll coming out.
Coming out of the end zone is Anthony Ratliff-Williams, cannot achieve the 20-yard line. Stopped by the Virginia special teams. 14-7 Cavaliers. Time for our first Citizens Bank. Forever first. Derek Fenner first at North Carolina with 328 rushing yards against Virginia in 1986. 39 carries, averaged over 8 yards per carry.
Fenner went on to play in the National Football League. 120 games in his career in the National Football League. A 10th round pick to the Seattle Seahawks. 1990 season, scored 16 touchdowns for the Seahawks in the NFL.
That was a big
all-time leading rusher.
Yeah, big total, but only third in ACC history. Who's first? BC's Andre Williams, 355 yards.
5-yard penalty, first down.
In a game against NC State. Don't forget the doubleheader starting next week at noon. Georgia Tech, North Carolina. Larry Fedora's Heels back in action, hosting the Yellow Jackets, who posted the big win on Thursday against Virginia Tech. And then 3:45, Boston College and Virginia Tech. And we'll get A close-up look at A.J. Dillon, 32 carries, 149 yards in the win by Boston College against Miami last night.
Well, Dillon was a monster last night, and that's what North Carolina needs at Antonio Williams, number 24 right there. They need a big effort in the ground attack to try to maybe take away some of the pressure that Elliott will be under today in this multifaceted Virginia defense. They come at you from all different angles.
180 consecutive pass attempts without an interception for Nathan Elliott. Wants to throw on the run. And now 181 straight. Michael Carter made the catch. 4 yards on the play with 3 seconds on the clock, and those seconds will tick off. 14-7 Virginia.
It's the South's oldest rivalry. It's Virginia hosting North Carolina. When you look at the numbers, certainly Virginia's had the ball one more time than North Carolina, but you look at the average yards per play on first down. Both offenses operating at a high level. Bronco Mendenhall getting some explanation on what may be a question, but Mendenhall really has some things going here this year. Of course, Larry Fedora trying to find a way to win a game. They've been very close as Larry Fedora, but just have not been able to crack that door.
1 for 3 on third down in the game. This is Elliott. 2 for 3 on third down. This pass complete to Carl Tucker, fighting for the marker but can't get there. 5 yards for Tucker.
It looked like Chris Peace was out there, one of our players we featured in our opening. Chris Peace, a guy playing his 44th game as a Cavalier, and a guy that's been all over the field. They've been a little bit banged up at linebacker. Jordan Mack, one of their big timers, has not been able to play very much this year, and it's been on Peace to kind of lead that group. Some young linebackers.
So our first punt of the ball game. Hunter Lent will punt it to Varus Kelly, who stands back inside his 35-yard line. Kelly meets it at the 36, avoids one man. Kelly, slippery, but finally taken down at the 40. The punt was 44 yards. The return, just 4. Well, folks, the Ram Power Play is brought to you by the all-new 2019 Ram 1500. Last Saturday, Virginia was visiting Duke, an important Coastal Division matchup, and Brice Perkins, one of the stars for the Cavs, ran for 2 touchdowns. First was a 23-yarder, broke a couple of tackles, and he got to the end zone.
250 yards of total offense, was right on, almost right on his number, 3rd in the ACC in total offense coming in today, and 61 yards in those 2 rushing touchdowns against Duke.
Also ran for 2 against Richmond earlier this season. Virginia's 5-2 on the year. 3-1 in conference play. It's a long attempt into double coverage. Was it picked? Down near the 15 it was. Miles Dorn laying up with a pick for the Tar Heels.
Now Dorn does a good job of reading this play. They're trying to get Reed down through the seam, and Dorn, who's playing outside, is just going to fall back from that outside in on that seam route. Good pressure by North Carolina to kind of heat up the thought press, but Dorn playing outside, going to come into your picture. Just comes right back and overruns the play over the top. The throw to Reed. Ball probably thrown a little bit too far to the outside, Tom. With the safety out there on that number hash area, got to take the throw back to the inside. Good read by Dorn. Good play for North Carolina defense.
First interception of the season for Dorn. 5th for the Tar Heels. They've got the ball back. 1st and 10 for Michael Carter. 2-yard gain. More on Miles Dorn. Down to LaRuscia.
So when we spoke to defensive coordinator John Papuchas, he told us that with Miles Dorn on the field, they're just a different defense. He's only played in 3 games, in the opener against Cal, Virginia Tech, and then the Syracuse games. And in those games, he believes they were pretty solid. Again, he says that Dorn does well in controlling the communication on the back end, and they're just a different defense when he's on the field.
He played down in the box a lot last week against Dungy running the ball for Syracuse. Had 14 tackles, played extremely well.
Elliott wants to go deep down that seam. It's too far for Anthony Ratliff-Williams, who could not run under it. Pass from Nathan Elliott, the junior from Salina, Texas. And that brings up 3rd and 8.
Another one of those early with air throws. We saw him hit Newsom on one. This was one he was trying to get Ratliff-Williams the ball down the middle. A good play by Bryce Hall to kind of reroute the receiver.
Our 1st and 10 line brought to you by Lending Tree, official loan shopping partner of the ACC. Elliott, after a career day last week at the Dome against Syracuse, where he threw for 321 yards, 34 of 52 through the air for Elliott a week ago. Four-receiver set on 3rd and 8. Elliott straight back. Now has to get away. Up to the 20 and taken down on 3rd down. Mandy Alonso, another big play defensively. Only 2 for Elliott.
Well, it's tough to sort out what they're going to do up front. You see a number of players backing out. Good pressure forces him up in the pocket, and then relentless pass rush from the 4 that come. But the biggest problem Virginia provides is you only have one guy with his hand in the dirt. Everybody else is standing up. Who's coming? Who's dropping out? And you get some of those angles in the pass rush that force your passer out of the pocket on 3rd down.
So North Carolina unable to convert on the turnover. It'll be a fair catch attempt near the 42-yard line. Tavares Kelly has it for Virginia. 38 yards on the punt. Thomas Jefferson Monticello. One of the must-see spots here in Charlottesville, Virginia. Is home at Monticello, which in Italian means Little Mountain, Dave.
Nice.
And now you know. Gracious hosts this weekend to our Raycom Sports crew. Tom Wormy, Dave Archer, Larisha Harris. Our executive producer, Rob Reichley. Director, Roy Alfers. There's a flag on the play.
Defense, number 53. 5-yard penalty. Still, 1st down.
Dave, Dwayne Haight is our referee today.
Let's take a look at Malik Carney now. This is a big-time edge player. He was offside on the play. Seeing set the edge, trying to keep that edge to the outside, keep his outside shoulder clean. Ball, and the play went away from him. But Kevin Carney back on the field, 6'3", 250 out of Alexandria, Virginia. Big-time player.
Carney making his return to Charlottesville, as Dave mentioned, from Alexandria, Virginia. 5 yards on that play and a 1st down after the penalty.
Robert Anai, the offensive coordinator. Always an interesting guy to talk to. You sit down with Coach Anai. Talked about, let's go down to Larisha.
Well, when we spoke with Robert Anai, I was actually told by one of his players that he sung a song to them during one of their motivational meetings. And basically, he was just saying that he wanted to show a different side of himself. So he grabbed his guitar, went out and sung a song. And according to Alameda Zacchaeus, it was actually a Bob Marley song. And I asked him about the vocals, and, well, Zacchaeus just kind of laughed about it.
Yeah, they got their Tuesday. Who's going to sing to the team group? They pick out a group every time to see who's going to sing. Very interesting what Bronco Mendenhall's got going on here at Virginia. We're going to take a look at the run play here. What they're reviewing is, did Ellis get enough for the 1st down? Was the mark correct? Another play by Powell. Powell was huge in the game, number 95 for North Carolina against Syracuse. Based on our yellow line, which can sometimes be true, sometimes not.
But more often than not.
More often than not, it is
way more often.
But I can't really tell from those angles, so I'm not sure they could change it.
Dave, it's interesting. We were talking to Robert Anai, the offensive coordinator for Virginia, and we asked him several different questions, and usually his answers are right to the point. But when we asked Brice Perkins about him and said, Robert Anai's kind of a quiet guy, Perkins says, I didn't even know he was quiet. What are you talking about?
The ruling on the field stands. 1st down.
That means they can't see anything more than what we saw. Yeah, and he said, we were saying, well, he's really quiet with us. Really? Hey, boys, he chews our rear end if we do anything wrong. He's very animated. That is not who you get when you sit down with Coach Anai. Very mild-mannered guy, but very intelligent approach to what he's doing. A lot of analytics involved in what they're doing on offense. And Brice Perkins has transformed this offense into what they had hoped they could be when this staff arrived a few years ago.
The 3rd year as the offensive coordinator for Anai. The ball popped out at the end of the play as Jordan Ellis had it and covered it. After 5 yards on the run.
Good hit by DJ Ford. The safety is the guy that's going to come up and make this hit, number 16 from North Carolina. These are the kind of plays that get that ball out, change the momentum of the game. Good rip right here. Ford comes up, puts his hat right on the ball. But fortunately enough for Ellis, he could rake it back in there before Miles Dorn could come in and make the recovery for the Heels.
Ellis is the 3rd leading rusher in the conference. Over 88 yards rushing per game for Ellis, able to cover that. 2nd and 5. Perkins slings it. Zacchaeus spin cycle. First down. Down to the 32. Alameda Zacchaeus. He's got 10. And how about that reaction?
Yeah, we talked about how good Miles Dorn was a week ago, and he's the guy that's going to be one-on-one on this play. There's always one guy you maybe not be able to get a hat on. It's Dorn, number 1. And Zacchaeus makes him miss in space. And that's why Zacchaeus is who he is. I mean, he's just tremendous in the open area. And that's something that Virginia wants to do a lot of, is get the diminutive one. Zacchaeus, 5'8", 190 in space. He'll make you look bad.
Had an 81-yard touchdown reception in the third quarter of the game last year against North Carolina. And it turned out to be the game-winning points for the Cavs. Ellis. I like that, Dave. Even though he fumbled a couple of plays ago, they go right back to number 1.
Yeah, it looked like maybe North Carolina was complaining getting up, that maybe somebody was held. Strobridge got up. Maybe R.J. Proctor, number 78, got over holding big number 55 in the middle. But good run there. Another first down play. We talked about how good both teams have been on offense on first down. And that's continued for Virginia in this drive.
Don't forget the doubleheader next week. Georgia Tech, North Carolina. And then 3:45, Dave and I and Larisha will be at Blacksburg for Boston College with the big win against Miami last night against the Virginia Tech Hokies. Ellis. It's going to be close to a first down near that 22-yard line. Jaylen Dalton, 97, in white and Carolina blue on the tackle, but it is a first down. The AP Top 25 is brought to you by Progressive Insurance.
Well, Clemson, of course, sitting there at number 2, playing Florida State right now in Tallahassee, and they're up 14-0. NC State took that crushing defeat a week ago in Clemson. But NC State got a tough matchup today as well, as they have to go up to the Carrier Dome and take on Dino Babers' team, who's playing a pretty high level.
Although NC State has won 10 of the 11 meetings all time between those two programs. That'll finish the day on the ACC schedule as the pass by Perkins is incomplete. And that was in a congested area, Dave, and it hits the turf.
Good pressure by North Carolina to force Perkins off his spot, and just couldn't quite settle into reading the play. He had to make sure he stayed free of the pass rush. So North Carolina, they haven't gotten Perkins on the ground today, but they've done a nice job of moving him around some. Going to need to come up with a big play now to close in on the red zone here.
8 North Carolina players hailing from the state of Virginia. After the Cavaliers won last year, ending a 7-game winning streak in the South's oldest rivalry by the Tar Heels. Perkins trying to get away, and they bring him down. That was Jaylen Dalton with the one-handed tackle, loss of 6.
Now, I'm interested to see what Dalton gets hold of here. It almost looks like he may have grabbed his hair. You see the dreads hanging out the back. Does he get his mask? He did grab his hair in the back of it. It looked like he might have gotten his mask to start off with. Crowd taking exception to that. Good pass rush by the big fella, 6'6", 300 from Clemson, North Carolina. Talked about how they hadn't gotten Perkins on the ground. Found a way to get it done right there. Forced 3rd and long. Zacchaeus at the top, right up here.
3rd and 15. Perkins had the time for a moment. Has to go on the move near the 20. Gets wrestled out of bounds. Just short of the 20-yard line, Tyler Powell. And that scramble by Perkins is worth 7 yards. Not enough for a first down.
You know, Tom, what North Carolina's done is they've done a good enough job in the back end where Perkins is getting his eyes off of coverage. Let's take a look at what he's got. Look right down here. Wide open right there. But his eyes are down looking at the rush. Perkins is taking his eyes. They've done enough from a pressure standpoint that they forced him to get his eyes off of the secondary and down on the pass rush. And he... Back in Virginia with Virginia leading. Here's Powell right here. He's the guy that's going to go down. Watch the shot right on the shoulder from linebacker Cole Holcomb. And Powell went down, got off on his own power. Powell was big last week. Had 2 sacks against Syracuse. They'll afford to lose him.
So here's Brian Delaney from 37 yards away for Delaney, who made a couple of field goals last week, and he's got this one. 37-yarder from the sophomore. Brian Delaney makes it 17-7. And we're back after a work. Anthony Ratliff-Williams, 2 yards deep in his own end zone. Previous 2 possessions for North Carolina, 3 and out after scoring on their first drive of the game in the first quarter. Ratliff-Williams up to the 20. And he's lassoed and taken down. 18 yards on the return. We're going back to Charlotte for an update. Clemson and Florida State.
This update is brought to you by Hardee's. And, Coach, you mentioned it in pregame. Trevor Lawrence and T. Higgins, a good combination early in this game.
T. Higgins, one of the taller wide receivers on Clemson's roster. If you hear Trevor Lawrence likes the big, tall guy. And again, a back shoulder throw on the goal line. And the shorter Florida State corners are struggling.
Yeah, after a scoreless first quarter, the Tigers have put up 2 here in the second quarter. Guys, back to you.
Katie, thank you. Virginia dominating the time of possession. Exactly what they did, Dave, a week ago at Duke. Dominated by 13 minutes against the Blue Devils. Nathan Elliott's pass deflected and available, and it hits the turf. Several players with a chance at it. Charles Snowden deflected the attempted pass from Nathan Elliott.
Yeah, 6'7" Snowden, the outside linebacker, number 11, going to elevate. See him on that outside edge with that big left paw. Bats the ball in the air, and there for a moment, one of those big guys that never gets to touch the football had some visions of making a big play.
Snowden, the 3rd leading tackler on this Virginia defense, and the sophomore from Silver Springs, Maryland. Second level and upended Michael Carter. First down and out past the 32-yard line. He got 13 on the burst.
One of our Food Lion impact players, Michael Carter, has great speed. A nice job of stepping through.
North Carolina moving quickly. That run by Michael Carter on the previous play, the longest rush of the game for North Carolina. It's just 3 on this one.
Got a true change of pace when you start talking about the backs, Tom. Michael Carter in there now, 5'9", about 190, 195. Williams, the bigger back at about 215 pounds.
Elliott on the play fake. And that pass could be first down yardage to Daz Newsome, and it is.
Well, that's a good catch by Newsome to go down and make that catch low. Wasn't the best throw Elliott's ever made. Newsome secures it for a first down. Talked about him in the opening, about how big a player he's been. A huge day a week ago with a punt return and caught a touchdown pass on a little short throw.
Had 7 catches in that game, Dave. That a career high for Newsome, and that 75-yard punt return. The first of his career for the sophomore. He's a Virginia native from Hampton, Virginia. Williams is the back. Has his number called. Left side and cut down right near midfield by Zane Zandier. 6 yards.
Yeah, he's talked about Carter, the big back, and the elusive quickness in space. And then you get the hammer in Williams, who's been very good since he transferred over from Ohio State. He stepped in and helped give him that power back.
Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Boston College, Virginia Tech. Your doubleheader next week. And a leaping play by Corrales and much more. Bo Corrales elevates and goes deep into Virginia territory.
Remember, Tim Harris has not returned since the hit on the shoulder. So Bratton, the sophomore, out at corner, whiffs on the tackle. And then Corrales takes it down the sideline. Thornhill saves a touchdown.
28 yards on that play. Now they're out to Groves. He's stopped short of the 15-yard line.
And Tom, the only way you can play with tempo like North Carolina wants to play with is they have to get first down. So now we saw that time of possession doing an excellent job of getting some first downs.
Elliott right near the goal line and caught wide open is Carl Tucker, and it's a North Carolina touchdown.
This blown coverage in the back end for Virginia. They flood the left side or the right side of Virginia's defense. See a number of receivers going out. Both backs go that way. 2 receivers and the tight end. And Tucker is the one left alone. Good recognition by Nathan Elliott to find him and getting the ball all alone.
Second TD pass of the game for Nathan Elliott, who now has 8 on the season. He has connected with Newsome and just a moment ago from 16 yards away to Carl Tucker. And the big tight end has the TD for Carolina. 5:01 to go in the second quarter. 17-14 Cavaliers, but Carolina just got to the end zone.
Yeah, true flood pattern. Going to run guys to the inside, take the defenders with him, and here's Tucker. He's going to slip out the backside. Nobody accounts for him. Actually have enough people over there, does Virginia, but the eyes drew three defenders to the inside, and then Tucker slips out the backside. That is a true flood pattern. When you talk about flooding receivers into one area of a defense, and Virginia didn't handle it very well.
Elliott has already used 7 different receivers, and North Carolina, that was its first trip to the red zone, 1 for 1 with the TD. Brice Perkins leads him back onto the field. And a 3-point lead against Larry Fedora's North Carolina Tar Heels.
Well, that was a good answer offensively for North Carolina. They needed something. Offense had been a little bit stagnant, find a way to get themselves right back in the ball game, and now their defense with an opportunity to get the ball back.
Carolina's last win of the series here at Scott Stadium in 2016, 35-14. In fact, they've won 4 in a row here at Scott Stadium, and they're hanging tough with the Cavs as Malik Carney shows off his muscle as he pulls the running back to the ground.
Carney's a monster in the outside. See how he keeps the outside shoulder free, then throws the defender away when he finds out which way the back's going. And actually did a good job of getting back to the outside after he'd established the edge to make the tackle. Carney is one of those guys that you have a tough time handling him one-on-one. And they're excited about having him back. He's had to serve a number of games suspension. Only played 4 games so far for North Carolina.
This is a 2nd and 10 play for Ellis. Not a lot of daylight near the 25-yard line, just a yard to match his jersey number for Jordan Ellis. Strobridge and Clark combining on the tackle.
So now you force Virginia into 3rd and long if you're North Carolina here. And this is where any defensive coordinator likes to turn his fire breathers loose up front. The key now who will be responsible in a spy on Brice Perkins.
3rd and 9 for the Cavaliers. Perkins 129 total yards so far in our game in the first half, rushing and throwing. And in this instance, the choice is only to throw it into his own bench.
Now, good coverage down the field. North Carolina tried to help chip block on the outside, and the guy that was spying the quarterback was J.K. Britt, the safety. As soon as Perkins skates out, watch number 29 right back here. He's going to mirror the quarterback as he skates out of the pocket. There's no place to go. He takes away the run.
First 3 and out and subsequent punt of the game for the Cavaliers. Joe Reed. And punting now Lester Coleman. Newsom is deep. Appeared to make a fair catch signal, though the ball hits the Virginia players and is down. All right, let's head down to Larisha for Gatorade, heard around the cooler.
Well, head coach Bronco Mendenhall has a passion for developing young guys, and one of the ways he's done that since he's been here at Virginia, he developed a shield, which you can see at the beginning of the locker room. On the shield, you can see family first, last, and always. That's the guiding principle that's actually embedded in all that they do. Other things that are around the shield, you can see less drama, more work. The power of choice. Champions do extra work, earned, not given, and a whole lot more.
Wins and losses, not a validation of success. It's consistent effort. That was Coach Mendenhall's words to us in our meetings yesterday. Best starting field position for North Carolina in the game, and they give it to Antonio Williams, the junior from New London, North Carolina.
Well, we talked about Bronco Mendenhall's approach. He's truly a teacher of young men, and he talks about all these things transition to the off the field. There's some of the words that are on the shield.
Elliott. His pass completed to 41. We found Jake Vargas on the play. They got 2, Dave.
All right, well, an opportunity here for North Carolina, and certainly the crowd here feels it, that North Carolina trying to swing the momentum, and they're trying to help their defense find a way to get off the field on 3rd down. Pivotal moment here in the first half.
2 for 5 on 3rd down for the Tar Heels as Elliott looks to the sideline for further instruction. The 123rd meeting, North Carolina and Virginia. 50th time they have met here in Charlottesville, Virginia. 2 for 5 on 3rd down. Elliott's pass. A diving attempt, and it's incomplete. It was Daz Newsome, couldn't get to it. 4th down.
Yeah, this doesn't look like Elliott threw this with a lot of conviction. It looked like he didn't necessarily know the angle with which Newsome's going to come out of the break, and he underthrew the throw. He actually has Newsome open for the 1st down, and just not enough commitment on the throw. He comes up short.
So Chuck Davis, the beat man at his own 15-yard line, waits for the punt from Hunter Lent, the senior from Elon, North Carolina. It's going to be fielded near the 11. And the punt was 44 yards, and the return was a loss of 1 as Thomas Jackson made the play on special teams for North Carolina. Now let's test your knowledge with today's Aflac game trivia. Here's the question. What was the first game in the series between these teams where both of them were ranked? We're coming back with the answer in just a moment. Dave, any ideas?
Both were ranked. I have an idea what the number is, so I can't say. I think you guys said it, and I wasn't paying attention to you. But
there was some discussion about.
Yes, there was, and I heard a couple numbers. So let's let the fan
chew on that for a little while on the Aflac game trivia. Perkins takes off and goes past the 15-yard line, runs into Malik Carney. That can't be pleasant anytime you meet number 53, Dave.
No, but they've done a better job of hemming Perkins in. That was a little bit more of a designed run for him. Most everything since the touchdown run has kind of been him trying to create, and North Carolina's really taken that away.
So we're inside of 2 minutes to go in our 2nd quarter. We had a flurry of scoring to start the game. Virginia scored on its first 2 drives. North Carolina on its first drive. But since then, just the field goal from Brian Delaney of 37 yards, and there is a marker on the field.
False start. Offense. Number 79. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
All right, so we gave you the Aflac game trivia question. And here's the answer to the question of when did they play when they were both ranked for the first time in the series. 1993. You would think it would be before that, Dave, but it was, in fact, 1993. And Virginia got the win here in Charlottesville. George Welsh on the left. And how about the guy on the right wearing that North Carolina
Yeah, that Mac Brown
polo shirt for Mac Brown. Black and white, too, by the way.
How do we not find a color picture for Mac Brown? We got one of George Welch, who was here forever.
That's funny,
we don't have one of North Carolina.
Mac sent us
Brown.
the picture, which doesn't make any sense, but maybe you like the shirt. That's our Aflac trivia. Glad you were with us for that. That was a big production, wasn't it, Dave?
Yes, it was.
First down for Tavares Kelly.
Good catch by Kelly and a really well-thrown ball. North Carolina starting to crowd the line of scrimmage with their safeties. So Virginia going to have to make a play on the outside, and that was a big-time throw to pick up a first down by Perkins to Kelly as freshman. So you watch these two safeties now starting to creep down for North Carolina to get involved in the run game.
Perkins, pocket collapses, and so does Perkins. Jeremiah Clark was the first man on the spot. Loss of 9, and Carolina can celebrate its second sack of the game.
They're doing a good job of kind of mush rushing him, Tom. By that means, I mean they're kind of keeping themselves level to where they are, each one of them coming up the field, so the quarterback has no angle of escape. North Carolina really doing a good job of rushing a very elusive quarterback, and then they're taking care of business in the back end. So I think they've made Perkins bring his eyes down from reading down the field to maybe reading more of the pass rush.
About 16 sacks in the last 4.5 games for North Carolina. Closing seconds here of our second quarter. It's Jordan Ellis. He got 5 yards, immediate whistles.
Now, give it North Carolina's defensive front a ton of credit. They've really taken away the Perkins impromptu run or the broken play run.
So that will end the first half. Virginia to the locker room, leading 17-14, trying to extend a 2-game winning streak. North Carolina has lost its last 2 games, and North Carolina will get the ball to start the second half, but trailing 17-14 after the gut-wrenching loss in double overtime last week in Syracuse. Let's go down to Larisha.
Let him have some run-pass options.
So North Carolina will get the ball to start the second half. Anthony Ratliff-Williams, couple of yards deep in his own end zone. Slight delay as the ball falls off of the tee here at Scott Stadium. This historic rivalry renewed. Virginia won the meeting between the teams last year. That was at North Carolina, 20-14. Stopped a 7-game losing streak against the Tar Heels. Last meeting in Charlottesville was 2016 and a win by North Carolina 35-14. There will be no return. 17-14 Virginia as we start the second half. We take a look at the steel tools of the game, and it's Chris Peace.
Yeah, Chris Peace playing his 44th game as a Cavalier. They say he plays at 1 speed. That means all the time going relentless. He's got excellent size, 6'1", 250 pounds. Excellent instincts as a linebacker. We see him sideline to sideline. Best practice player. That was something that was told to Bronco Mendenhall, and he heard it from a longtime scout in the NFL. This is the best practice player I've ever seen. And Chris Peace, he says, ever? He says, this guy's seen a lot of players now. Big-time player.
That pass bobbled and dropped. Bo Corrales had a chance at it. Bratton right on his hip.
And revisiting that real quick, Tom, the best practice player ever, what does that mean? Okay, he plays well at practice. I mean, what's that mean? He's setting the tone for everybody else. If he plays at a high level all the time, 1 speed in practice, the other guys around him are going to respond to that. That's what Chris Peace brings to the table.
Elliott handed it off to Antonio Williams, not a lot. Dave, in your days as a collegiate quarterback, Iowa State.
Horrible patches there, Tom.
And also in the professional ranks with the Atlanta Falcons. You know where I'm going here.
Yeah.
The responsibility of certain players to set the tone in practice.
No question about it. And with Jordan Mack being injured, the other linebacker, Peace, it really fell on Peace to get it done. Here's an opportunity for Virginia on 3rd down to find a way to get off the field. Here's what trying to solve North Carolina. All the players standing at the line of scrimmage.
Elliott, the left-hander, down the sideline. Ratliff-Williams goes up for it. It's knocked away. Incomplete. Juan Thornhill came over to jar the football loose.
Came with the corner fire. Bryce Hall is going to blitz off the corner. That means Thornhill, the safety, has got to go get the receiver. You see the pressure on Elliott. He gets the ball out early, puts a little air under it. Look at Thornhill, ball hawk, trying to get there from the middle safety position to knock the ball away with his corner blitzing off the edge. Excellent play by Juan Thornhill.
3 and out for North Carolina to start the 3rd quarter. From the 34-yard line, Chuck Davis. 39 yards on the punt. The return was 4. Our Yellowwood brand 5-star recruit is Brice Perkins, Virginia quarterback.
Yeah, why not? At Chandler High School in Arizona, went to Arizona State, ultimately got to the junior college, but he comes in here. Look at what he did in high school, Tom. 46 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions in 2014. He's transferred that here to Virginia and playing at Iowa. He's really, I think he is the difference. When you talk about Virginia from a year ago, he's the difference. He changes who they are on offense, both run and pass.
Perkins was 7 of 12 with an interception and a touchdown for 79 yards in the first half passing the football. Zacchaeus slanting up the middle into North Carolina territory. Running away from that North Carolina secondary and finally pushed out of bounds at the 33 by Greg Ross. They got 29 on the play, Dave Archer.
Nice little design here. Brings Zacchaeus back to the inside against man coverage. He's able to win there, and then whenever you get him in space, he's so dangerous. But Zacchaeus, little inside move against Morrison, the freshman. Excellent job of setting the route up. Excellent patience. Good, quick, easy throw for Perkins to get the drive started.
Yeah, the 4th catch of the afternoon for Olamide Zacchaeus, the senior from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Perkins, incomplete. Looking for Zacchaeus. And for more on Olamide, down to Alicia.
Well, guys, I spoke to Olamide Zacchaeus, and we already know that his name holds weight just because of who he is as a player, but there's also a significant meaning with his name. He's of Nigerian descent, and his name means a blessing has come, and it's clear that he's a blessing to this Virginia team because we hear so much being spoken about him, all the accolades and how well his coaches think of him as a player. They say he's very, very consistent on this offense.
Well, he and Perkins are the best of friends, too. Since Perkins transferred in January, those two have been fast friends. You can see the connection between the two.
Perkins ran and threw it down the line. Incomplete pass to Kelly. Some options there for Perkins. Ultimately, an incomplete pass.
Yeah, excellent design here. Perkins just doesn't execute properly at the back end of it. It's obviously the option play, and then the final option is to kick the ball outside. He's got his freshman wide receiver Kelly standing over for the throw. But you see already the movement of the quarterback outside the pocket. One of the things we talked about in our game plan in the second half is get Perkins out on the perimeter with run-pass options.
2 for 5 on 3rd down. Perkins on 3rd and 10. Looking, has a man. At the 15, it's caught. Dubois into the end zone for the Cavaliers.
Well, sometimes when a guy comes this open for a quarterback, you're a little bit stunned, and Perkins doesn't make the best throw, but give Hassis Dubois a ton of credit. He makes sure he catches the ball first before he runs. He's so wide open, you got to catch it first. Excellent job of Dubois squeezing the football, and then excellent run after catch. Hassis Dubois.
The goal is to get to 24 points. Well, that's what they've done. Anthony Ratliff-Williams will not have a return. Your local Toyota dealers want to give you tickets to the 2018 Dr. Pepper ACC Football Championship game along with a pregame field photo. Enter today at the ACC.com/Toyota tickets. You want to get down on the field at Bank of America Stadium. That's where Dabo Swinney and the Tigers have celebrated the last 3 years in a row.
Yeah, not a lot of regard for Virginia way down here at the bottom. That was the media vote for the Coastal Division and how it would turn out. Virginia all the way at the bottom. Well, Virginia playing today for sole possession of the Coastal League.
And it was Boston College scoring the win last night at home against the Miami Hurricanes. And Dave, we were lucky enough to watch that game last night. A lot of emotion surrounding the bandana game and Wells Crowther, who saved so many lives on 9/11. Unfortunately, perished in the event, but he is honored each and every year with a red bandana game.
Yeah, it's one of those great moments. His family is there, his parents. It's just one of those moments that I think every Boston College, really all of us across the country, should really celebrate.
And a wonderful win for the Eagles last night. We'll see him next week in Blacksburg. This pass complete to Michael Carter. He's got a first down for North Carolina.
This is something North Carolina got to when they couldn't run the ball a week ago against Syracuse. Was their perimeter pass game, short passing game to Carter out in the flat. He's excellent in space. We talked about getting Newsom and Carter the ball out in space. They get Carter the ball out there, and all of a sudden you got a first down.
Ratliff-Williams makes the catch up near the 42. Bryce Hall is right there and waiting. He had the tackle after 4 yards.
Yeah, Bryce Hall, an impressive guy, 6'1", 200-pound junior, Harrisburg, PA. Outstanding corner. He is a prototypical NFL corner playing at a high level for Virginia.
They're going to run it with Carter. Didn't get a lot. In fact, there is no gain for Michael Carter, who last year, Dave, against Virginia had a monster game. 13 carries, 157 yards, and a couple of rushing TDs.
They came in wanting to take care of the interior run from North Carolina. That's why I think you'll see North Carolina play a little bit more outside the box. They've already seen Carter outside in the perimeter. I think you'll see Newsom and Carter a lot more in those positions to try to make some explosive plays.
2 for 7 on 3rd down for the Heels. Elliott. Pass was knocked down. Charles Snowden. That's the second time he's been able to interrupt the progress of a forward pass from Elliott.
The 6'7" Snowden going to move to the inside, just around and get in front of the quarterbacks. He was stationed outside. They had a little stunt, a tackle in stunt. Snowden comes back to the inside, elevates with 6'7" frame, and those long arms bats it down. Wonder if Tony Bennett has had any conversation with Snowden. Play a little basketball here at Virginia.
This is Davis, wants to get away from it. And allows it to bounce and go out of bounds. So much history around this series. Started in 1928. And look who is here, the President of the United States, Calvin Coolidge, and his wife, Gracie, attending the Virginia, North Carolina at Scott Stadium. This is the 88th season of college football in this facility. 263 all-time wins for the Cavaliers, playing their longtime rival, North Carolina. Teams met twice back in 1892. This is Perkins under pressure, and he'll go down near the 30. He will pick up 2. Carney the tackle.
Tighter coverage on the outside. No quick throw that time. Made him hold the football. Carney, the big timer off the edge. Let's take a look at Virginia's possessions in the game. Started both halves with a drive down, put points on the board. North Carolina trying to counteract that now. See, their adjustment was to hug up on those receivers to take away those quick, easy throws.
14 TD passes on the season now for Brice Perkins, who also has that rushing touchdown. His 6th of the season. Zacchaeus closing in on the all-time receptions record here at Virginia as Ross made the play after 4 yards.
Yeah, good play by Ross to come up in the corner spot to limit that play. We've seen how dangerous Zacchaeus is when he gets in the open field. That's really where they like him. But a good play by Ross, number 35, the corner. And so an opportunity now for North Carolina to find a way off the field. Did a good job last week. Held Syracuse to 3 for 14 on 3rd down. Trying to find a way to get off the field here.
Zacchaeus needs 3 catches for the school record for receptions. 3 of 6 on 3rd down of the game for the Virginia Cavaliers.
Sorry, Tom. Perkins changing some things at the line of scrimmage.
See if he made a good decision. The decision here is to run it. 1st down and more. Perkins across midfield, and he gallops down near the 40.
Well, this is the one thing that limited Perkins in the 2nd quarter. Let's take a look at the coverage down the field. Is there anybody to throw the ball to? Might lay it off right here at the bottom. But Perkins realizes, you know what, I can do the thing myself. Now, Applefield, the right tackle, might have gotten away with a little bit of grabbing against the North Carolina rusher, Jaylen Dalton. But no call, no foul. Perkins up the field for a 1st down.
He got 26 on the run for Brice Perkins. 9 of 16 throwing for 141 yards. Couple of TDs and the 1 interception by Miles Dorn on a deep pass. We're up to 62 degrees as Perkins throws. That is complete. Going to be Joe Reed near the 35-yard line for 5 yards. Joe Reed, Dave, who's from Charlotte Courthouse, Virginia. 87 miles south of Charlottesville. Population, 522 people. Number of stoplights, 0 in his hometown.
Yeah, they do some frog gigging down in those parts. And Joe, very good at the frog gigging process.
All right, Dave, when I get a second, we're going further into frog gigging.
You mean up in that New York area, you guys don't do any frog gigging?
You mean Fort Mill, South Carolina? Here's Perkins. His pass deflected away. Looked like Dorn got a piece of it. We're going back to Charlotte. Katie and Tommy.
Hey, thanks. Let's head over to Tallahassee, where we're used to see Travis Etienne run into the ball. That's not him, though, Coach.
They take the nation's leading scorer, put him on the bench, and Christian Wilkins plunges in from the 1-yard line.
1-yard run. Clemson on top of Florida State right now in the 3rd quarter, guys.
I love it. They gave the All-American a crumb in the backfield. Christian Wilkins shoves one in the end zone. Boy, throwing a bagel up against that Florida State offense.
188 yards and 2 TD passes. Trevor Lawrence. Tigers and Knowles. This is Perkins on 3rd down. Watch out. Didn't have time to breathe or throw that football. Chris Collins, first one there, and then Jeremiah Clark, number 49. That's a loss of 5.
Now Collins, a freshman from Richmond, Virginia, finally getting a chance to play, and some of it has to be with because of guys are injured or out on suspension, but they heat him up with pressure. Nobody accounts for Collins, number 17, and that's his first career sack as a Tar Heel. And get ready, folks. 6'4", 220-pounder is going to put a little more weight on. He has a chance to be an excellent edge player for North Carolina.
3rd sack of the game for the Tar Heels. Lester Coleman, the senior punter, in for the Cavaliers. As Newsome ranges under it. A lot of orange surrounding him, but he makes that fair catch successfully. Right. Tom Wormy, Dave Archer, LaRisha Harris on the sidelines, and our outstanding Raycom Sports college football production crew. This is Daz Newsome. They go for the gadget play. Can't turn the corner. Cut down near the 12. Darius Bratton came up.
Tom, we talked about Bratton, the corner who came in for Harris, the injury, but they're trying to get, again, the big play guys out in space. This is Newsome. Bratton, 32, keeps the leverage to the outside. They do a good job of gang tackling, stringing the play out. And a -2 for North Carolina.
And just 9 plays for the Tar Heels this half, and they've only gained 19 yards on 2 possessions. Elliott drops it off. It's incomplete. Antonio Williams. And Snowden was there again, maybe to affect the trajectory of the pass.
Yeah, Snowden elevates right here. You're exactly right, Tom. Trying to get the ball over that 6'7" frame. He gets up in the air. It looks like you're throwing it over Ralph Sampson.
But a good job of creating a negative play there. So 3rd and long now for Nathan Elliott. This game boiling down for North Carolina, to Elliott having to make some plays from the pocket, with Virginia trying to heat him up with pressure.
2 of 8 on 3rd down of the contest for North Carolina. Elliott's got some time. The pocket starts to deteriorate. He goes down, and it's an incomplete pass. Matt Gamm is number 56 on the play.
Well, we talked about that pressure. Who's coming? Who's dropping out? There's Chris Peace, number 3 or 13. And coming off the edge is Matt Gamm. He does a good job of kind of swimming around and made him hold the football. That's the coverage in the back end, making Elliott hold it long enough for them to get there.
4th time that Carolina has gone 4 and out in this game, so they will punt from their own goal line. Kelly got hit immediately. They'll spot the ball at the 46-yard line. There was Javonte Williams on special teams, number 25. The punt was 40. The return was a loss of 1 after the play by Williams on special teams.
But because of the 3 and out, Tom, that the defense provided, now Brice Perkins takes over after scoring a touchdown in the opening drive of the 3rd quarter. They have a short field opportunity right here. I bet they would like to really put some distance between themselves and the Tar Heels right here with this short field opportunity.
Best starting field position of the game for Virginia. Just beyond its own 45-yard line for the Cavaliers and junior quarterback Bryce Perkins. He tucks his football. Perkins across midfield. And inside the 45-yard line as Holcomb made the tackle, but the sticks are rolling for the Wahoos.
Talk about maybe adjustments you make at halftime if you're Bronco Mendenhall. That means get the quarterback out on the perimeter. Perkins had been kind of rushed into nothing in the 2nd quarter. Excellent job of pinning Holcomb, the linebacker, to the inside. He's ultimately going to get over and get in on the play, but not until Perkins had ripped off a run for a 1st down.
Our 1st and 10 line brought to you by Dish. Switch to Dish to get every major Division I college football game. 92 yards rushing now in the game for Perkins after that previous run. Floats that one off to his left near the 35-yard line. They got 7 yards on the play. Tavares Kelly to catch Hollins defensively.
Yeah, it's a good catch by Kelly, too. This ball's low and inside, but Kelly, the freshman, makes another play for his quarterback. So this Carolina defense now going to have to adjust to the fact that Robert Anae, the offensive coordinator, is moving his quarterback outside the pocket to avoid this front 4 that's caused him problems in the 1st half.
Cavaliers have won 2 in a row, 4 of their last 5. Perkins sets and throws on the money near the 25. Olamide Zaccheaus, 11 yards. 1st down, Virginia.
Well, Zaccheaus working against the freshman DeAndre Hollins, the corner, does a good job of pushing him up the field, and a well-thrown ball again by Perkins to the outside. Hollins playing inside as Zaccheaus comes out of the break. He's expecting his quarterback to throw it to the outside. That's exactly where the ball was.
6 catches for Zaccheaus, 1 more to tie the school record. I like his schedule. He makes a nice catch. A little bit after the play, gets a little breather on the sideline. Pretty good. Zaccheaus with the most recent catch from Bryce Perkins as we're going to Charlotte. Katie and Tommy for an update.
Let's head over to Tallahassee, where the Tigers have tacked on another, Coach.
Clemson has unleashed the beast. Trevor Lawrence finds Amari Rogers, 58-yard touchdown run. Trevor Lawrence now 246 yards, 3 touchdowns.
The Tigers put 28 points on the board in the second and have added another score here in the third. 35-0, guys.
Well, Tom, we talked about the CFP vote comes out on Tuesday. The first college football poll was who those Final Four might be. Comes out on Tuesday, and so it's important for Clemson to show how dominant they are, and they're certainly getting it done today in Tallahassee.
Tigers chasing their 4th straight win against the Noles, who haven't won in that series since 2014 in Tallahassee. Our 1st and 10 line brought to you by Dish. Switch to Dish to get every major Division I college football game. Here in Charlottesville, 24-14. Virginia leads late in the 3rd. Tavares Kelly. Trey Morrison on the stop for North Carolina.
Well, it's a good play by Trey Morrison, too. This looked like it had a lot more in it for Kelly out in space. Another one of those young guys that you like to get the football to, the freshman from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. But Morrison, another freshman, you see he's feeling a little bit of the effects of the hit, but this kid's all over the field now. He's played a lot of football as that nickelback for North Carolina. And Robert Anaya, the offensive coordinator, trying to find a way to get his playmakers out in space. Good play by North Carolina there to limit the play.
Anaya, a guy knows about national championships on the '84 BYU team as an offensive lineman. This particular play does not yield the desired result for Virginia, just a yard.
Yeah, the freshman Jake Lawler, we talk about the future maybe happening right now for North Carolina because of some of the injuries and things up front. We've seen Collins make a play. Here's Lawler, another big timer out on the edge. Does a good job of taking away Perkins' option to get outside and pitch the football, and a number of Tar Heels rally to make the play. Freshman from Charlotte, North Carolina, Jake Lawler. Seeing some of the future of North Carolina on the field right now.
4 of 8 on 3rd down for Virginia. This pass, Zacchaeus could not get away and might come up a couple of yards short of the 1st down. Cole Holcomb wrapped up Zacchaeus, who has another catch. And that's the 7th to tie the school record. Olamide Zacchaeus. A red zone brought to you by CPI Security, the official security partner of the ACC.
Well, the quarterback is your best player. Zacchaeus is his next best player. When you hear the coach talk about it, quarterback in the pocket, you'd think that maybe you move him. Zacchaeus is not on the field, so it falls to Brice Perkins to get this. They like to run the lead play with the quarterback.
2 for 2 in the red zone with a field goal and a touchdown. They'll give it to Jordan Ellis, the senior.
Oh, that's going to be really close, Tom. Had to break the 16-yard line.
Well, Virginia had been 1 for 1 on 4th down. North Carolina thinks it has stopped the Cavaliers.
Well, they broke the 16. It looked like he had to get to about the half of the 15-yard line, and based on where it's marked, it looks short. Let's take a look here on a replay. It's kind of a simple dive play. We talked Jake Lawler. Lawler makes the play again. He's the guy that folds in from that defensive end spot to potentially hold Ellis short.
And Jonathan Smith, number 7, also in there for North Carolina, junior from Laurinburg, North Carolina, and not enough for the Cavs. So a big defensive stand for North Carolina in the red zone, and the Tar Heels will get the ball back. Bronco Mendenhall's team turned back by the Heels D.
Big moment there. They decided to put the ball in Ellis's hands as opposed to keeping it in Perkins' hands. They run a play similar to that earlier with Ellis leading Perkins through. This time Perkins on his own. He couldn't get it.
Doubleheader next week. We'll start it with the ACC Blitz at noon, and then it's Georgia Tech and these North Carolina Tar Heels. And then Boston College travels to Blacksburg. Dave, Larisha, and myself will be there at Lane Stadium, where Virginia Tech has won the last 3 in a row in that series against the Eagles, who posted the win against Miami.
And that Bud Foster defense coming off.
Ball start. Offense. Number 55. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Coming off a tough performance, Georgia Tech ran for over 400 yards against them on Thursday night. And You can bet that Steve Adazio is going to load up A.J. Dillon with the football, so they're going to have to stop the run game again.
149 yards rushing last night against Miami for A.J. Dillon and the Boston College Eagles. On that emotional night, the red bandana game at Alumni Stadium. This is Bo Corrales. Corrales up near the 40. Brenton Nelson pushed him out right at the 40-yard line, give him 29 yards gained on the play.
Show a little run action away, then throw the screen back to side, backside tunnel screen, get a couple linemen out in front of Corrales. Good run after catch. Second time we've seen Corrales make a heck of a run after he catches the football.
Brings the ball up to the 40-yard line in the bright sunshine of Charlottesville, Virginia. Smaller gain there for Jordan Brown. Zandier making a stop for Virginia. Brown, the junior from Durham, North Carolina, and Southern Durham High School.
Chris Kapilovic, the offensive coordinator, Larry Fedora, they like to use all their backs. Brown, Carter, Williams, all rotate in, and all are effective.
Approaching the 2-minute threshold of the third quarter. Elliott with the play adjustment. Gonna hand it off. Jordan Brown. An orange and blue roadblock at the 40, and we're going back to our Charlotte studio.
Let's head out to Cardinal Stadium, where Wake just running all over Louisville.
What about Matt Colburn, a 12-yard touchdown run, giving him 202 yards on 14 carries, 3 touchdowns, having a career day in 3 quarters of football.
Yeah, Wake Forest on top 56-35, and we're still in the third quarter, guys.
All right, Matt Colburn, he seems like he's been at Wake for like 10 years. 200 yards for Colburn.
Demon Deeks searching for their first ACC win of the season. On third down for North Carolina. The integrity of the pocket is compromised, and the ball came out. Virginia covers it. Bryce Hall covered the fumble, and it's Cavalier football.
A corner blitz. He hauled 34 coming on the corner fire. He's going to elevate in the air, take away maybe a quick throw, but it's Chris Peace, the guy we talked about off the start. How much does he affect the game? He plays at one speed. It's 90 miles an hour. Took away the quick throw in the flat with the corner coming. Peace gets the ball out, and Hall coming on the blitz is the guy that ends up with the football.
And the first turnover of the game for North Carolina. Bryce Hall covers the fumble. Ellis bouncing off the initial contact to get 2 yards. North Carolina, Dave, in points off turnovers. Their opponents have scored 60 points off turnovers. The Tar Heels just 9 this season.
Now, this is a Carolina defense that's not created a lot of turnovers for themselves. Only 7 coming in today. They had 2 last week against North Carolina. But they've got their back against the wall right here.
Heels do have 1 interception today, that from Miles Dorn in the second quarter. Closing moments of the third quarter. 24-14 Virginia. Perkins, puts a little touch on it to Zacchaeus. And Zacchaeus hangs on at the 16-yard line. That is the 8th reception of the game for Olamide Zacchaeus. He's your new record holder here in Virginia.
All-time leading receiver in receptions for Virginia. Nice patience by Zacchaeus. Excellent touch pass. Now, he had a tough time finding the handle, but he ultimately got a hold of it. He's been a heck of a player. They played him in a lot of different positions. They run him with the football. They get him in space.
So that $8 billion raised for education. To learn more, visit nclottery.org.
Time of possession, obviously glaring. More times you have the ball, more opportunities you get. And now Virginia threatening again, but they've been able to own the football. Subsequently, have been able to put more points on the board.
Zacchaeus sets the all-time record for receptions. Set the school record last year with 85 receptions. Perkins to the end zone. It's a touchdown. Evan Butts pulls it in for the Cavaliers from 16 yards away, and it's a Virginia TD.
Well, Butts with just 11 catches on the year, but this is a big one. Get him isolated one-on-one, runs the wheel route on the linebacker. Heck of a throw by Perkins under pressure. And he beats Holcomb to the corner pylon. Nice throw by Perkins under heat to kind of drop it down the chimney chute and let the big tight end go up and get it.
Brian Delaney's extra point is good. Evan Butts, a senior from Newtown Square, Pennsylvania, has the touchdown and a high five. Virginia with the lead. Football Hall of Fame. There is no return as we head down to the sidelines and Larisha Harris.
Well, Charles Snowden of the Cavaliers, he is emerging as one of the defensive players on the Cavaliers team. He has 3 tips right now, 5 tackles and a sack, and he used to play basketball, so we can see that his 6'7" figure, slim figure I should say, is definitely coming into play with him being able to play basketball and what he used to do. And we know that his coaches actually went to see him play basketball when they were actually in the recruiting process to get him here.
Yeah, he came to a camp. They saw him at a camp and said, wow, look at this kid. And then they went and watched him play high school basketball, and it confirmed that we need to get this guy playing football here at Virginia.
Elliott trying for the deep ball over the middle. It's incomplete. Radcliffe Williams was the target. Bryce Hall is back there, and we've called Bryce Hall's name a number of occasions, Dave, and he was able to stay with number 17 in white.
Well, Tom, it's a nice luxury to have. We see Snowden on the outside being double-teamed in the pass rush, and why not? He's been a problem. But Bryce Hall on the outside, the corner, these two corners are outstanding. They do a good job of playing one-on-one, and it really affords you the opportunity as a defense to get after the passer because you put those guys one-on-one on the outside.
This one is complete to Rontavious Groves, but there will be no gain.
Yeah, enter Bryce Hall. Another play by Bryce Hall at the corner. He's going to keep outside leverage. Piece going to come from the inside, number 13. And right now, Virginia playing some really good team defense.
Just 2 for 10 on 3rd down for Carolina. Elliott's pass sails out of bounds. Looking for Anthony Ratliff Williams. Once again, Bryce Hall is back there in coverage.
Well, and again, good pressure on the quarterback. Elliott has to let this go. He didn't have a chance to look for anything. Peace coming to come off the edge. Gets down low. Kind of a dangerous situation right there for Nathan Elliott. Fortunately, he didn't get rolled up too bad. He's limping a little bit, but Peace talked about his relentless one-speed attitude getting after the passer.
Kelly. 37 yards on the punt. Nothing on the return from Tavares Kelly.
Well, Olamide Zaccheaus came into this game. We talked about what he can provide for you. Got to get him the ball. Get him the ball out in space. Let him do his thing. He had the fake reverse. Here he is on the outside showing he can run routes outside the numbers. This is where he's dangerous, though. You get him inside the numbers, get him the football, and let him go. And this is the record. Goes past Billy McMullen, who had 210 catches over his career from 1999 to 2001. Zaccheaus now the all-time leader in receptions here at Virginia. He's been a big-time player for a long time.
8 catches and 98 yards for Zaccheaus. PK Kyer, the sophomore from Winchester, Virginia, got 3.
Zaccheaus had a 5-catch, 100-yard performance a year ago in a win. It's going to throw a touchdown in there for Virginia against North Carolina in breaking that 7-game stretch. You talked about, Tom, where North Carolina kind of owned the series. So Virginia kind of on their way here to trying to make this 2 in a row for the Cavs.
How about his game against Ohio this year, Dave?
Pretty good.
247 yards receiving, a career high and school record, and a couple of TDs. They were 86 and 77 yards against the Bobcats for Zaccheaus.
Yeah, I think Ohio was pretty excited about not having to try to tackle number 4 after that game. They were excited to get on the bus and get out of town.
By the way, that Ohio game was scheduled to be a home game, but because of Hurricane Florence, it had to be moved to Nashville, Tennessee, in a 45-31 win for Bronco Mendenhall and the Virginia Cavaliers. According to plan so far for North Carolina, Tyler Powell was able to walk off of the field for North Carolina. You saw him as we went to break. He was shaken up momentarily. Perkins throwing on the run up near midfield, and that's complete. Olamide Zaccheaus, it's a first down.
Well, nice job by Virginia to make an adjustment. Robert Anae knew his quarterback was uncomfortable in the second quarter, so what he did, he came out in the second half, and he began moving Perkins out of the pocket, giving that run-pass option with Zaccheaus out in the flat to get the football to him. Zaccheaus runs the quick out, Perkins right on the money. So nice adjustment by Robert Anae to get his quarterback back rolling after a really good first quarter.
Zaccheaus now with 105 yards receiving on 9 catches, the 7th time in his career. 4th time this season he's gone over 100 yards receiving. Dalton made the tackle of Kyer. ACC standings are brought to you by PNC. Make today the day.
Well, we talked about it. Virginia playing for the opportunity to be alone in the Coastal with 4 wins, 1 loss, move their record to 6-2, and they would sit atop the standings going into next week. And you look at the Atlantic, Clemson taking care of business in Tallahassee right now, but what a matchup, as Clemson will have to move on here in a couple weeks to take on BC and Chestnut Hill. We've got BC next week against Virginia Tech, which will be a heck of a matchup in Blacksburg.
Eagles with the win against the Canes at home last night at Alumni Stadium in Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. They are now bowl eligible. Georgia Tech, North Carolina, and then our game in Blacksburg, the doubleheader next week. That pass beyond the reach of Tavares Kelly. Trey Morrison back there in coverage.
Brice Perkins took a shot at the back end of this throw, decided to take a shot, see thumbs up, I'm good. But this is something North Carolina's done a good job of, is when he stayed in the pocket, come in there and heat him up. Wasn't a violent shot. This looked like he fell hard on his right hand. Remember, that's the hand that he injured against Louisville when he went out and caught a pass, or tried to. Ball hit that little finger. And so he had to shift gears and start wearing a glove on that hand. We had him the next week, Tom, and he really didn't throw the ball that well. He's had to kind of grow into throwing the ball with the glove on his hand, and looks like he tweaked it again there.
3rd and long, 5 of 10 on 3rd down in the game for Virginia, leading 31-14. Perkins has to hit the eject button. Coming across midfield and dancing out of bounds, and there are bodies flying all over the place on that Virginia sideline as Perkins was unscathed.
Well, Terrell Jana is going to just drop the hammer on Miles Dorn to protect his quarterback here. A blindside shot. And Perkins gets out of bounds. Could not get the first down, though.
Perkins got it to the 43-yard line, but short of the first down marker. Lester Coleman will be the punter for Virginia. Senior from Martinsville, Virginia. Daz Newsome is the deep man. We saw Newsome with a 75-yard punt return last week against Syracuse. There will be no return right here. It is out of bounds and marked the 8-yard line. Let's go to the studio and get a further update from Katie and Tommy.
Well, let's head over to Tallahassee now. Coach Bowden said, unleash the beast that's Trevor Lawrence. I think they've done that.
68 yards to Amari Rogers. Trevor Lawrence, 314 yards, 4 touchdowns. He set a Clemson freshman touchdown record.
Yeah, and they are up 45-0 with 7:50 to go in the 3rd quarter. Wow, guys.
Wow, think about that now. Freshman record, Coach just said. You think about Deshaun Watson, Taj Boyd, the guys that have played quarterback there. That's a heck of a mark for Trevor Lawrence.
Tigers won 31-14 against the Noles last year in Death Valley, and in control this afternoon as Michael Carter's got a first down. There is a flag in the offensive backfield. The initial indication is holding.
Holding. Offense. Number 55. Half the distance to the goal. Replay. First down.
Dwayne Haight, our referee this afternoon, assesses the infraction against the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Yeah, J.J. McCargo, the center, the sophomore, got flagged that time on a nice run through the middle. North Carolina just has not been able to generate anything on offense. And you look at the number of plays, not very many plays either, which has really stressed North Carolina defensively. 4 punts and a turnover.
Tar Heels just 1-5 on the season, 1-3 in conference play, yet to win on the road, 0-4 and 0-2 away from Chapel Hill in the conference. Out of his own end zone, Elliott's pass is incomplete.
Well, you change the thought process, or at least the timing for a quarterback. It can affect you the rest of the game, and I think that's something that Virginia's been able to do for Nathan Elliott. They've gotten to him a number of times, heated him up a number of times. He's trying to stand in there, but because the pressure has been relentless, he's kind of changed his timing of getting the ball out, which has made him miss a couple of throws.
179 yards passing for Elliott, who last week threw for 321, a career high. He will hand this football off to Michael Carter.
You know, Virginia defensively came in, kind of quietly number 3 in the ACC, Tom. It was a lot of focus was on Miami and Clemson defensively, but this Virginia team has been outstanding. In fact, total defense, they're 24th in the country. This is one of the best defenses in the nation, not just in the ACC.
And Elliott is just 4 of 13 through the air in the second half of the Heels. Wants to put it in the air. It is complete. Antonio Williams. Williams to the 20. He's got more at the 30. Antonio Williams up the sideline. And Antonio Williams stays inbounds into Virginia territory. Down to the 47-yard line. They got 43 yards on the pass play. Elliott to Williams.
Just a 3-count screen. Going to leak out after counting to 3 of those big linemen out in front. Excellent running by Antonio Williams. Couple of missed tackles by Virginia. And on the back end of it, they're out over midfield.
Elliott again, down the middle. This pass complete near the 20-yard line. Carl Tucker brings it in for the Heels.
North Carolina trying to got to get first downs to get that tempo going. You heard Larry Fedora tell Larisha Harris at halftime, you've got to get first downs to get the tempo. A couple of back-to-back plays, first downs. Now they can get rolling.
They got 27 yards on the previous connection with Tucker. This is Corrales trying to throw a defender away, but the reinforcements come from Virginia, and Corrales is taken down.
Darius Bratton, who's been in for Tim Harris most of this game. Harris got hurt early. Bratton fronts him up, good hard tackle, puts him on the ground. No run after catch there. Corrales has been pretty good after he's caught the football today. Not on that play.
From just inside the red zone for North Carolina. 8.5 minutes to go in the fourth. 1 for 1 in the red zone for the Heels. Looked like Carter near the 10-yard line. Juan Thornhill on the tackle.
Snowden kind of lured into pass rushing off the edge, created a huge crease, and Carter found it.
That TD in the red zone was in the second quarter. 16-yard TD pass. And out of the 5, Carter down close to the goal line for North Carolina. Eli Handback with the tackle.
Good hard running by Carter, just 5'9", 195, running like a big guy on that play. Ran through a couple of arm tackles.
First and goal for the Heels. At the goal line, Carter.
No signal.
Both officials coming in from the edges. They're looking at one another. They're still talking.
Well, they marked him short. It looks like Carter lands on top of one of his own players. North Carolina going to go fast, so they're not going to get a chance to probably get this reviewed.
Second and goal. Elliott handing it off. Flag is out. Williams is short of the goal line. There is a flag on the play.
Yeah, Virginia's offside on this, Tom. They got a little bit of a jump of the gun. And so North Carolina going to get a re-scrimmage on second down.
Being snapped. The previous play is under review. The ruling on the field is that the ball carrier was short of the goal line.
So we're reverting back to the run by Carter, Dave, where it appeared that he had gone into the end zone. Officials did not make a signal. We waited and nothing was decided.
Yeah, you're supposed to buzz the head official, and at that point you'd think he'd blow his whistle, blow the play dead, but that didn't happen. So let's take a look at it now. Carter, it looks like to me, lands on one of his own players. He puts the hand down. That's a touchdown, Tom. He never landed on anybody. It was what I thought was landing on a player is his left hand keeps him elevated here. This is an excellent run. Elevates with the left hand. It's a touchdown.
So the next play was a run by Williams. That is wiped off the score sheet as we revert back to the review of this run by Carter from short yardage.
That's clearly a touchdown.
It appears to be, Dave, indisputable video evidence. We have seen things go different ways.
No, I don't think that there's any doubt about that. That was a touchdown.
Now, again, the call on the field is that he was short.
What the official's looking at here. How does he not see this?
Maybe the left.
He's looking down the line. Does the defender, number 15, get in his way?
Is it possible they may have thought the left knee comes down first, Dave, but it did not, clearly, in that video. Because the right knee didn't.
I'm just wondering how the official couldn't see it. He's looking right down the line at it. But it looked like Devontae Cross, the safety, might have been in his way. That's a touchdown.
Let's get the word from Dwayne Haight.
After review, the ball carrier crossed the goal line prior to any body part being down, therefore touchdown.
So officially, that's going to be a 1-yard TD run by Michael Carter.
Now, I'm wondering, you know, they ran a play. Did the clock move on the Antonio Williams play where he was short? Because there was no talk of re-racking the time. So I'm sure North Carolina wants to know where that's what Larry Fedora's talking about.
Exactly.
Wait a minute, you got to give me my time back.
Dave, excellent point, because...
Yeah, he says we ran a play after that. You got to give me my time back.
Right. So after the Carter run, there was another play. Antonio Williams on a rush that was nullified because of the
Please
review.
reset the game clock to 7 minutes and 53 seconds. 7:53.
That's 32 seconds. Larry Fedora wants back on the clock, rightly so. The play didn't count. So good job by Larry to see that, because they were going to go ahead and kick the extra point and not give him his time back.
And Dave, Michael Carter has his first rushing touchdown of the season. 8 plays, 92 yards, 3 minutes and 25 seconds. The snap was not the best, but the extra point is good. So North Carolina drives it 92 yards. Hold on a second. Hold on just a moment. There's a flag on the play.
That penalty is declined. The try is good.
Something until that last drive in the second half.
15 total touchdown passes this season now for Brice Perkins. He's got 3 in the game, including 1 here in the fourth quarter. 16 yards as he hit Evan Butts in the back corner of the end zone. Second TD catch for Butts this season.
Fun guy to watch play.
All right, Dave, our 1st and 10 line brought to you by Dish. Switch to Dish and get every major Division I college football game. We thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for the 123rd meeting of the South's oldest rivalry.
All right, North Carolina looking for a stop here to try to get their hot offense, the football back.
This is Perkins. Hesitation. The pitch. Zacchaeus. A lot of moving parts. Not a lot of yards. No gain.
Well, good job of North Carolina stringing it out. It's an option play, obviously, to the outside, but none of the UNC defenders declared themselves, so Perkins had a tough time making a decision. Late pitch to Zacchaeus and nothing there. So exactly what John Papuchis right there, the defensive coordinator for North Carolina, was looking for. A good, solid play to start this drive for him defensively.
It'll be 2nd and 9 for the Cavaliers. Speaking with Perkins yesterday, the first thing he told me, Dave, when we had a chance to chat, we haven't beaten North Carolina here in Charlottesville since 2008. That was a 16-13 overtime victory for the Cavaliers. The last time they took out the Heels here at Scott Stadium. Perkins lets the defenders slide on by and gets to the 30-yard line, maybe a little bit more. Strobridge, the tackle, and 6 yards.
Yeah, and a good play by Miles Dorn. Watch number 1. You talk about setting the edge. You hear people talk about that. That means you got to get outside leverage. Look at Dorn. Keep that outside leverage. He knows he's got help coming from the inside, but what he can't allow happen is he can't let Perkins get to the perimeter. So Miles Dorn does an excellent job of keeping that outside arm free, seals that edge, and allows a number of Carolina Tar Heels to get there and make the play. And so now an opportunity now to get off the field on 3rd down. You've got to find Zacchaeus if you're right. Here's Zacchaeus at the bottom.
Perkins looking for the 1st down marker. appears to have it on the far sideline. How about the patience running by Perkins?
He did. He did. He went kind of into a soft trot there for a second, didn't he?
He was in no hurry.
Well, and what it is he's allowing the blocks to take effect. Little dive fake, and now he's got some blocks out of the perimeter, just kind of letting those blocks take effect for him out on the perimeter. Tanner Cowley, the tight end, is the guy who got the key block to allow him to get the first down.
And that's a big first down to keep the clock moving. 5:45 and counting. And a fresh set of downs for Virginia. Bryce Perkins, a rushing TD today and 3 passing touchdowns. 2 here in the second half after his team led 17-14 at halftime.
Well, now they just reset the 25-second clock, which I'm not sure why. If you're Brice Perkins, go ahead and let it run another 25. It already run 20 seconds off the clock. Not sure what they were doing there.
That run attempt is stuffed. Let's check in with LaRisha.
Well, you guys were talking about the run game of Bryce Perkins. For a physical runner, he makes really good decisions. That's what offensive coordinator Robert Anai told me. And he told me that the reason why he's even on the sideline now, which we see he's on the sideline, he felt it was important to be here to help with the development of Bryce Perkins, who is a good runner. In order for him to evolve more, he said his quarterback coach needs to be near him.
Well, sometimes that's certainly the case, and this was a new relationship. Perkins came over in January, so being on the sidelines with his new quarterback, he transferred in from Arizona Western Junior College. Felt like the eye-to-eye contact sometimes much better than having to talk to him on the phone.
Perkins throws it down the 30-yard line. Zacchaeus short of the 40. Greg Ross on the tackle. And a timeout, North Carolina. With 4:30 on the clock. LaRisha just talking about the running abilities of Bryce Perkins. 112 yards rushing. 4-pack and receive 4 $5 Bojangles gift cards and 4 ACC hats. Reserve your 4-pack today. Also enter to win a luxury suite for 10 at the ACC.com/SweetLife. And that would be a sweet way to watch that championship game in Charlotte.
Tom, while we're away, Jonathan Smith, linebacker for North Carolina, one of their top tacklers. It looks like he gets hit in the back of the head. Watch Dorn, number 1. Watch his foot fly up in the air and hit him right in the back of the head, it looked like. And he went down after that. Now, he walked off with a little bit of help. Hope he's okay. Looks a little woozy.
Meanwhile, it's 3rd and 9 with 4.5 minutes to go in regulation for the Virginia Cavaliers. Big pressure. Perkins spins out of a tackle. Hesitation at the 35, and he's up past the 35 to the 37-yard line as Carney finally got him. All that work for just a yard.
Yeah, Alan Artis, number 4, is going to come on the blitz. He's the replacement for Jonathan Smith, who we just saw leave the game. But he didn't make the tackle, but there were enough heels around him to get him on the ground. Perkins has been outstanding today. Saw the numbers that we threw up. Over 300 yards of total offense. Over 100 yards rushing, Tom.
3rd time he's done that this season. Did it against Richmond and at Indiana. Lester Coleman, the punter. Daz Newsom at his 22-yard line. Coleman with the strategic low liner. And did a nice job with that one down near the 20-yard line. 41 yards on that punt from Lester Coleman. Our coverage of ACC football being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network. We welcome the men and women of the U.S. Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, and Marines stationed around the world, and so proud to have you with us for the oldest rivalry in the South. 123rd meeting. Maybe you heard me mention it. Virginia and North Carolina. And Dave, it's getting kind of interesting here late.
Well, North Carolina certainly has an opportunity. They're going to have to go at a decent pace, but can't get 2 scores until you get the first one. So let's see if they can get a first down to get that pace going. It really bothered Virginia on that last drive.
Virginia won the matchup between the teams in Chapel Hill a season ago. Prior to that, the Tar Heels had won 7 in a row in this historical series. Elliott's pass up near the 28 and complete.
Good tackle by Bryce Hall, too, out in space. No way for Ratliff-Williams to get out of bounds to momentarily stop the clock. So now Elliott going to have to move with the clock moving.
See that contrast, Dave, between the last drive and the previous 5. As the Tar Heels took it down the field for a touchdown. Carter took it in from a yard away. Carolina has another first down, and they're out of bounds to stop the clock after 5 yards from Antonio Williams.
Yeah, good twisting catch by Antonio Williams coming to the near sideline on that quick throw to the flat. This is one of their standard plays. They do a good job of getting that back on that wide side of the field, the ball on the run.
Doubleheader next week. Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Boston College at Virginia Tech. Elliott extends the play and then makes the prudent decision to sail it into his own bench area. 2:40 on the clock.
Well, once again, this is a good job by Virginia in the back end. Where are you going to throw it if you're Nathan Elliott? No place to throw the ball. Look, everybody's covered up here. So Elliott skates out of the pocket with Snowden in his face, has to throw the football away. Good job by Virginia. This is one of the best, probably in Virginia in recent memory, one of the best back sevens they've had in years.
2nd and 10. Thomas Jackson makes the catch.
Good tackle by Chris Peace to keep him in bounds. Clock still moving. Talked about Peace and how relentless he is. They'll give away the 5-yard throw. They realize they lead by 2 scores.
Elliott's pass broken up near midfield. Thornhill made the play defensively for Virginia. Thomas Jackson was the target for the Heels.
Yeah, Brent Nelson in there as well, Tom. This is a secondary. There's Nelson, number 28, guy that plays a ton in their nickel package. They've got a lot of DBs here they can put in the game that all they do is make plays.
This would appear to be the game for Carolina. 1 for 1 on 4th down attempts.
Newsome is in the slot right here. There's Daz Newsome. You'd like to see him touch the football.
Elliott being chased by Snowden. Incomplete. Turnover on downs. Back to the Wahoos.
Boy, they had Newsome open right away, Tom, but he didn't see him. For some reason, did not look at him. Newsome's there right now. He's got to let it go. Now he's going to eat a shot from Snowden coming on the pressure. But if he stood in there, he had a chance to get Newsome the football for a first down. And then waving bye-bye is Thornhill and that talented secondary for Virginia.
Here's our Dickey's hardest working player, and it's the quarterback for the Cavs, Brice Perkins.
329 yards of total offense, the 4 touchdowns, 3 through the air and 1 on the ground. Yeah, he set the tone in the run game, and that first drive ran for a touchdown and has been outstanding all day long.
10-yard TD rush on the very first possession of the game. That was from the Cavaliers as Ellis bounces it outside a little bit. Up the middle, and Ellis is near the first down marker as Morrison made the tackle.
Well, Ellis is the guy that had the big day a year ago against North Carolina. Had the 136 yards rushing, but today it's been Perkins.
.21 carries, 112 yards rushing for Brice Perkins. Will it be 2nd and short for the Cavaliers, or will it be 1st and 10? It will be 1st and 10. Those chains have moved.
Yep, just going to let the clock move.
Perkins, 3 TD passes of 27, 33, and 16 yards to Dubois, Butts, and Joe Reed. There's going to be a review on the spot to determine.
The field is a first down. The previous play is under review.
Well, kind of a moot point at this point. Let's see if Ellis. Again, you're not going to be able to tell from that that you can change where the ball's laying. And There's just nothing there. I mean, this is going to stand. Good hard running by Ellis. Get the first down.
While we wait on the review, here's our performance of the game. It's brought to you by your local Chevy dealers. It's the record setter, Olamide Zaccheaus, for the Cavs.
Yeah, all-time leader in receptions. Broke that record today. 10 catches, over 100 yards, back-to-back games against North Carolina when he goes for over 100. It's his 4th 100-yard game of this year. But Zaccheaus has been a big-time player for him for a while, and he was huge today. We talked it, there was no doubting when you got through talking to Bronco Mendenhall. He said, Brice Perkins is our best offensive player, and Olamide Zaccheaus is our second best offensive player. We need to get those guys the football. And that's exactly what they did today. You got a quarterback that goes over 300 yards of total offense. You got a wide receiver that catches 10 for 108. Fun to talk to that guy. He's really molded this program. You talk about a culture now. Everybody talks about culture and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes that name is thrown, or that word is thrown around. There truly is something different here at Virginia. And you start talking about what Bronco Mendenhall has built with these guys, how much these guys believe. He made a reference. He says, I said, where are you in the program, this process you're talking about? And he says, we're at the point where we have matter-of-factly acceptance, meaning at this point in time, I don't have to prove myself. I've already done that. Because sometimes you come in and you start a program, you got to kind of prove what you're telling them is going to work. And then once you get that, then they'll say, okay, yeah, buy in. He's to the point now where they're in their program where when he tells guys to do something, that's what they do because they already have earned that they've already earned that respect. So that's where they are in the process. Pretty cool.
Belief and a trust. I think that was one of your Carolina Ford dealers' keys to the game today, Dave.
Sure enough.
For Virginia. The trust factor. It has shown up this afternoon.
Really, we're spending this much time on this play. This is ridiculous.
Again, the ruling on the field is a first down for Virginia. Either way, the Cavs are celebrating. How about another defensive effort by the Cavs, Dave? They will hold another opponent this season under 400 yards. That's the 7th time in 8 games for the Mendenhall defense. North Carolina right now at 337 total yards. Larry Fedora's team, if this score holds, will drop to 1-6 and 1-4 in conference play. The upcoming schedule, November 2nd against the Pittsburgh Panthers. They go out of conference for Liberty and then Georgia Tech on the road.
Just short of the line to gain, it will be 2nd down. Please reset the game clock to 2 minutes and 4 seconds. 2:04.
Dave, by the way, we showed you that the next game is November 2nd against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, now Virginia has to be careful now when you start talking about now. Pitt is one of those sneaky teams that can be streaky. Pat Narduzzi's team, if you catch them on the wrong day, they'll beat your rear end. There's no question about that. And so they got to get ready for that. And then 2 weeks later, they've got to play Liberty, and you'd like to think that Virginia would handle their business against Liberty and Turner Gill's team. But then they get Georgia Tech, which is a completely different animal now. We saw what Georgia Tech just got through doing to Virginia Tech. So Virginia not out of the weeds by any stretch of the imagination, but they put themselves in position to go win a championship, certainly a Coastal Division championship.
It will be a run by Ellis. He's got a first down. On top of your point, Dave, Virginia's lost 3 in a row to Pittsburgh. And that's the opponent next week right here in Charlottesville. Next Saturday, doubleheader for you. Coverage begins noon Eastern. ACC Blitz powered by the all-new 2019 Ram 1500. Katie and Tommy. We got Georgia Tech and Chapel Hill to take on these Tar Heels. Last year, the Yellow Jackets rushed for over 400 yards in the win. They did that on Thursday as well against Virginia Tech. Then at 3:30, Boston College in Blacksburg to meet Virginia Tech. Hokies still control their own destiny, top of the Coastal, although Virginia's about to take that spot. And they'll take on Steve Addazio's Eagles, who beat Miami last night. Join us next Saturday. Everything gets started at noon, and note the start times for our doubleheader.
No, huge mistake. The official just referred to UVA as Virginia Tech. He may not get out of here alive. Oh, and the crowd reacting to it. Timeout, and he's even getting it from Brice Perkins right now. Oh, huge mistake. Look at that is classic right there. You don't think that there's any
that this crowd's looking forward to watching this team play the Hokies here at the end of the year, do you?
By the way, the Commonwealth Cup will be November 23rd at Virginia Tech. The 100th meeting between the teams. Virginia's lost 14 in a row in that series.
Yeah, they're
oh boy.
I'm sure they'd like to get through the next couple. We talked about Pitt, we talked about Georgia Tech, but you can bet that the eyes of Virginia, certainly the fans, are looking forward to the Hokies at the end of the year.
They got shut out against Virginia Tech last year, Dave. 10-0 here in Charlottesville.
Yeah, with this kid at quarterback, I would say that that's not going to happen this year. That's going to be a heck of a game.
Again, that'll be November 23rd to wrap up the regular season. And now with this victory, Dave, Virginia has sights on Charlotte December 1st in that ACC championship game as Ellis busts through the line.
I would think if this might be an opportunity, will they kneel down on the ball right here? Obviously, you're going to get one more play clock, and you take a look at the Coastal, and regardless of what anybody else does, Virginia goes to 4-1 in the Coastal, and they take control of the chaos that is the Coastal Division. And Virginia will emerge from this week as the leader of the division and their destiny in their own hands.
31-21. Final seconds tick off the clock at Scott Stadium, and for the first time since 2008, Virginia has defeated North Carolina here in Charlottesville in the South's oldest rivalry.
Heck of a performance by Virginia. They knew what they had, an opportunity to take control of the Coastal. They took advantage of it, played a solid game against the North Carolina team that presents a lot of problems for you on the offensive side and some big-time guys on the defensive side. But when you come in and you're kind of expecting to win, sometimes those are the toughest ones to take.
Brice Perkins accounting for 4 touchdowns, 1 rushing on the very first drive of the game for Virginia to open up our game this afternoon, and then 3 passes through the air for touchdowns for the Cavaliers, who had 17-14 at halftime, scored the first 2 TDs of the second half, and those numbers will hold up for Virginia, which improves its record to 6-2. Dave, they're 4-1 in conference play, and they are perfect 4-0 right here at Scott Stadium.
Yeah, take care of your own backyard. That's something that Bronco Mendenhall preached when he got here. Take care of business. And Bryce Perkins, unbelievable. 329 yards of total offense, 100 of that on the ground. So the quarterback came in as